have too many topics. I did want to talk about the Camaro and kind of where today I want to talk about kind of where the Camaro stands, where we plan to go, and what the next steps are going to be for the Camaro. So we'll go ahead and let people come in and hopefully have a good chat. Like I said, don't really have a main topic, but we will be discussing the Camaro, where it stands, what we've done, and what the next steps are going to be. So if you're watching this afterwards, go ahead and just skip over to the 2 to 3 minute mark, and that'll be when we start having the discussion. Let's see, what's going on, David? Let's see, David's asking, how much horsepower can the block hold? Now, it's all going to depend really on who's tuning and the calibrations that are being done, guys. The stock LT1, generally from what I've seen and from what I've read online and kind of just experience of the people that have tried to push these LT1s, would say the limit on these is about 700, right? In the case, to get to 700 horsepower, you're either going to be using something like what I'm using, a nitrous kit, or you're using boost to do that. And boost does put a lot more stress on your engine and requires a lot more fuel. And that is where these LT1 engines have an issue, is with the fuel. So if you can get the proper fueling, then you can run these engines up to between 700 and 800 horsepower, as long as you put the right fueling and you are doing the best to minimize any type of pre-detonation, because that is what kills these things. If you have nitrous, again, you have to have the proper fueling, which is why I went with C16, of course. But typically, I'd say 700 horsepower range with proper fueling is going to have a long life on an LT1. If you move up over 700, the 700-800 range, even with proper fueling, you are going to stress the engine a little bit more. And depending on how much you stress it out, basically how hard you're running it back to back and stuff like that, then you can start running into issues, but you're still going to do well if you have the proper fueling. And Ford blocks have a set limit. Every manufacturer puts a set limit for horsepower on their blocks, but I doubt that Ford had the Coyotes with a set limit of 1,000 horsepower with boost. So I wouldn't really worry too much about what the limits factory set, because it doesn't really plan to affect. People push it beyond that and run well as long as everything's set up right. The 3 valves hold 1K horsepower, but their internals suck. Well, I mean, I guess if you're talking about a block without anything, just the block itself, this LT1 block will hold, 1,200 horsepower, whatever you want, as long as you upgrade the internals. So if you're talking about the engine itself, the stock engine, then yeah, typically you're not going to see as much limits. I think the Coyotes can kind of hold a little bit more because of their design, the dual overhead cams, but they still do require some kind of upgrades. Oh. All right, so for those of you 3 that are here, I appreciate it. JJ, what's going on, man? Kid Mike, hey, George, last video was awesome, more street runs. But why did you go with the LT1 10-speed over the LT1 8-speed in the Stingray Corvette? Hey, I appreciate it, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, because I feel like I've gotten a lot of comments, a lot of awesome comments about the video, and it did really well. I mean, everyone really liked it, and some of the things I want to talk about is just give some more explanation and descriptions of all the cars there, and kind of where we stand up and where I think this car did, if it did well or not, because I didn't really describe that very well at the end of the video. So we're going to get into that today. But to answer your question, Kid Mike, I wanted to try the new best thing, the 10-speed, and the way that it can shift so quickly. There was something about the 10-speed that I really wanted to just try out. It was a new platform, something new, something that I could be able to work on. And so that's why I went with the 10-speed and not the 8-speed, which had already been out for a little while. Plus, the 8-speeds had the issues with the transmission shutter, which apparently was fixed with tuning. But still, I wanted to try that. What's going on, Flying Tarpoon? How you doing, man? Oh, David. Yeah, man. Really, the limit. I mean, you can run these cars again. Like I said, the blocks. If you get some, just replace the rods and the pistons. I mean, there's a lot of LT1, even LT1 guys that do drop-in piston and rods and are making 1,000 horsepower. Again, with the right fueling, that engine will live forever because the fuel is the key. That is what you want to make sure you have dialed in and working properly. That is what keeps this whole thing together. You see it with the LT4 engines. The LT4 block is pretty much very similar to LT1, uses a little bit different heads, but overall the internals are what the only thing that's upgraded. It doesn't have extra better sleeved pistons or anything like that that I'm aware of. So, and you can see with just doing some internal upgrades does. Those LT4 blocks are running 1,000, 1,100 horsepower in twin turbos without a problem. Charlie Murphy, 10 speed for the wing. How's it going, man? And Lone Star Films, dude, it's exciting when you start getting car parts. Really, really exciting. JJ says, does anyone know if the 6R80 on the Mustang is all right, like for 2015-17? I think I had it on my EcoBoost, and it's not bad. I haven't heard many bad things about the 6R80, but it's just going to be very similar to the 6-speed automatics in the LS. And kudos on handing that C6 hits ass. So, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and start talking about the runs. I want to go through the different runs and kind of explain a little bit more about what the comparisons are, and just to give better overall idea of the cars and the horsepower ranges and where this thing lines up. So went out, had a great time in Mexico, and the first thing we ran into was a bone stock ZL1. Now, the ZL1 was bone stock, and I believe it was a 17 or 18. It doesn't even matter, but it was an automatic. It was a 10-speed, and the first runs we did were on nitrous. I flipped it around in the video and showed you the NA runs first because as much as people want to tell you that, well, my car doesn't have anything or my car is stock, typically when you go out to Mexico, everyone's lying. So I was like, let me just use the nitrous on the first try, just in case, and we'll see where the car is that way. ZL1s come from the factory with 650 horsepower. When you dyno them on a dyno jet or just the general dynos, they typically will put down about 550, 560 horsepower. So they do have drivetrain loss, and 100 horsepower sounds about a little bit too much, but it's about what they put down, 50 to 60, maybe 70, depending on the dyno. But pretty good idea is to say that those cars are putting down about 550 to 560 horsepower to the wheels. Now, on the nitrous run, you guys can see the car just completely pulls away instantly, and really isn't a comparable race at all. So we've got the nitrous setup just pulling away from a stock ZL1, and it's very obvious that this car has a lot more horsepower than on the 100 shot of nitrous. It does have a lot more horsepower. Now, I wanted to see where the car was NA with that same car, so we ran NA, and as you can see on the NA runs, really once we both get going, the Camaro, the SS behind me, really starts just slowly pulling and pulling away. And because this is NA and not supercharged and doesn't get heat soaked, you guys saw in the second run, it was even worse of a pull. So I was able to just completely pull away from him NA. So what that told me there was that this car definitely is putting down more than the 550 to 560 horsepower NA, which is great because it is putting down more power than what a normal stock ZL1 would, which is, again, 650 at the crank. So the car, to be my guess, and we will be verifying this, we are going to be taking this car to the dyno, probably is around the 570 to 580 range. Is that where I would put this the Camaro at right now? And that, I believe that extra 20 to 30 horsepower is about what you would see how much I was pulling away NA, which is awesome, right? That is really great. And so then after that, that gave me kind of a good idea of where this car stood. Basically, anything around the 550 to 600 horsepower range, an NA run is probably going to be really good. And anything over that, if you've got a tune, tune pulley, anything else, anything making over 600, then that's when the nitrous is going to be needed, right? So, excuse me. We then ran a 19 GT, Mustang GT that was E85 cat delete and drag pack with a tune. And those cars are really great. And I totally forgot to turn my nitrous kit off. I did mean to run that completely NA versus NA. Unfortunately, I forgot to turn the kit off. I had it on. So I ended up, completely walking away from that car. But it probably would have been a good race, and I would have probably been able to pull away easily on that Mustang as well. Then, as David mentions, the C6, that C6, I wish we would have been able to get a much longer run, but that C6 was a pro-charged C6 and very light, boosted engine, so it was probably making quite a bit. It was a manual, so it was making quite a bit more power than just normal automatic. And you can see the first one was very short, but the second run, we were able to get a couple gears in, and I was slowly pulling away. Of course, I was on the nitrous. So that was very confidence-inspiring, very, very confidence. I thought that was really well. It showed just how much power this thing has, just on a 100 shot. And so it's really awesome. Now, then we actually got to run a 6th gen like this one, but an 8-speed, and it had the exact same thing. It had the whole weld drag pack set up front and rear. It had heads cam. I believe it also had a stall, so it probably had a much bigger cam than what this is, because I think he had like a 4200 stall or something like that, very, very large stall. But anyways, those two cars from a roll, obviously the stall doesn't matter, but we were able to take off, and we were doing, I believe, 50 rolls. So I don't know if that's better for me or for him on the 8-speed. But we did those rolls, and you guys can see my car is able to jump out about half a car, and then they kind of just stay pretty even. And it looks, in some of them, you can kind of see the black car start to creep in towards the latter end when we're already doing about 120, 130 miles an hour. So definitely the car keeps up pretty well. And then obviously when I did the nitrous on him, that was just, I wanted to show him what nitrous can do. So he wanted to see that. So we tried it out, and I showed him, and the car just takes off. So that was pretty fun, being able to run a car like that. And that just helped me feel good about where this car is. Now, there are a bunch of other cars that probably have less mods or have things like that that can maybe keep up. But it's for what this car has and for where the other guy had, and it was two different tuners, two different builds completely, and you can see that they're pretty even. So when it comes to mods, guys, like it's as long as you don't lie, I mean, the cars, the mods themselves are going to prove it. It's not like you can just magically come up with 50 or 100 extra horsepower, out of thin air. So that was a good comparison, showing you guys just what they're capable of. So his car was very similar to mine and works almost the same as mine, pretty much the same as mine. I did race a ZL1, the yellow ZL1, the 5th generation ZL1, and that car was also E85 cam pulley, full bolt-on car. So that car was actually shooting flames out the back after it would do a run, and that car actually ran NA. So that shows you how much weight makes a big difference, because those 5th gen ZL1s are pretty heavy. They're probably over 4,200 pounds, 4,300 pounds when it's all said and done. And of course, this thing, even though I didn't remove anything, it's probably still only like 3,850, 3,850, 3,900 pounds. So really not bad at all that I was able to kind of slowly pull away from him. At 580, he's probably maybe making 650 to 700, but that extra 500-600 pounds of weight kind of negate the extra horsepower that the car was making. So that was a fun. And then, of course, the CTSV. I really don't know what mods the CTSV had, but if you guys watch the very end of the video, you'll see that both NA or nitrous, it wasn't even fun. But they had like 3 or 4 people in that car, so it was just never going to be a close race. All right, let's see. What's going on, 719? Torque is Definitely above 600. Yeah, we'll see where the torque is at, because the car, it definitely picks up and goes. And then the 10 speed, yeah, I mean, you guys can hear it as basically I'm tapping it and it's blip, blip, like it's just like a blip, and the car is just still going. Do you think your car should be faster in the quarter? Bryce, well, in terms of time, it could be fast. It can do much better, but I'm gonna need a stall. The cam in the car is big enough to where leaving out of the hole, I'm losing some power down low at the very bottom, and it's not leaving hard enough. Now, that's something that maybe could be tune corrected with the transmission or something like that. And I am looking at other options right now. So we're working on seeing what we can do maybe in the tune for that. But the car's mile per hour is there to run better times. I just need to shorten up and get my 60 foots and my first like 300 feet time down. So the car has that laziness off the line, and it's really killing my times. I showed a drag strip pass slip of my cousin where he was able to run a 10.7 at 128. So he ran a 10.7 at 128 with a 1.6 60 foot. I ran a 11.3 at 129 on a 1.88, almost 1.9 60 foot. So that shows you how big of a difference that 60 foot really makes in the quarter mile times. Now, as you guys saw on the street, on a roll, the car is out, the power is there, it has the power, and it's really fast. It makes the mile per hour, it does what it needs to do. But unfortunately, at the track, if I want to get a faster time, I'm going to probably need to do a torque converter, a stall, and I don't know if I want to do that just yet. We're going to work around and see what we can do to get it right, and maybe we won't have to get a stall to get a little bit better, but we will see. Appreciate it, David. Derek Taylor, what's good? Yeah, the ZL1 races were nice. Appreciate it. How's the car feel compared to the G8? I get beat by my buddy C6 base on heads cam in a 150 shot. Yeah, this thing, I feel like this NA is probably about, it feels as fast as the G8 does on the Pro Charger. When it was on 93 now, if you're on the 85 now, it might feel a little bit different, but back when I had it on 93, this feels pretty much about the same. I feel a little bit bigger like kick from this, like initially, but the acceleration really just kind of stays constant about what I would feel with the G8. Now with the Nitrous, this thing is a whole nother level. I mean, it's amazing, even with just that 100 shot can do. And yes, heat soak is a big deal, guys. That's one of the reasons why Nitrous is so much nicer, because you can leave this car in A, spray some Nitrous in there, and it super cools everything, gets everything nice and cool, even better. So yeah, in the summer, this summer, guys, if we make it, when we make it out to Mexico some more, we're gonna have a pretty good runs against some good cars, because if we just let them heat soak, it'll be good to we'll be good to go. We'll be able to run against some pretty high horsepower cars. Another thing is, guys, we're still only on a 100 shot, which is, it's not anything to snot at, but as far as Nitrous is concerned, it's not too bad. We can easily turn this up to a 150 and get it running really well on a 150 shot. And at 150, I don't know, we'll see. My goal is to go to the dyno sometime here in the next week so that I can get the NA pool to see where this is NA. We're going to do a 100 shot pool, and then we can, if we're able to, we can throw in the jets for a 150 and just do a 150 shot pool and see where the car is on a 150 shot. But that'll give us some ideas of what we want to run when, depending on the competition. Yeah, it's very, very much so an issue. Yeah, guys, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of people don't realize is, well, I've got the Nitrous on a 100 shot, but with the right fueling, like I was mentioning at the very beginning of this live, these engines can handle the power What they can't handle is bad fuel. So if you have the right proper fueling and you're doing the right things in the tune and dialing everything in, then this thing can make some good power. It can make some very good power. It can handle a lot of power. So we've got the C16 race gas in here. We could easily put a 200 shot into the car and run it on a 200 shot, and it could probably live quite a while. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to live forever or whatnot, but it would run really well as long as we have the C16 race fuel. And a 200 shot on this thing would be insane. I mean, you're probably looking at the car making some insane power and really, really starting to get up there with some of the even build higher horsepower build cars. You know, bolt tune pulley ZL1s, determined veterans ZL1 with meth, you know, and all that meth, pulley, ported blower. I mean, I think if I turn this thing up to a 150, 200 shot, it would be really a competition for that. And it would be really good. Derek Taylor says, after I was tuned by Brett, my car is faster in touring mode. Somehow it tricks the computer, and now my car chirps. I was saying to the report. Man, that's I've heard, like I said, I keep hearing really good things about Brett from Prey Performance, and I to him. We're kind of discussing a few things, and we've tried a lot of different things. Pat has looked at trying multiple different things with the 10-speed and the Camaro, and it just, we're not getting some places. And I believe in Pat, and I trust Pat's judgment in what he's doing with the tuning. I mean, the car, as you guys can see, it runs well. Track passes, I believe, you know, there might be some things we can get a little bit more aggressive on. Now, if we do get aggressive on it, does that hurt the life of the transmission or the life of the car or whatnot? I am not 100% sure, but those things can maybe help the car run better at the track, and do some good stuff there. One of my friends here in Houston, he's got a red Camaro SS, and he is just headers intake an E85, and he does have nitrous, and I believe he's got a poly high ram, but you know, stock throttle body, stock cam, stock heads, and his car runs really, really strong. I believe he ran the black car that I ran, and according to him, he was able to kind of keep up with him NA. Yes, Bryce, Eric, and he was able to keep up with the black car that's heads and cam NA. At least that's what what he was saying. So, and he's tuned by Brett at Prey Performance. Now, he does remove his seats and stuff, and so that does kind of help a little bit compared to like when you're a full weight car. But that car runs really strong, and I've seen it run at the track where it's run really good, almost comparable times to what mine was doing with way less mods. And he does have nitrous on it, and if you guys, I might not be in the Houston area, you wouldn't really see his videos, but he is up there running against, you know, 700-800 horsepower cars on nitrous, and I believe he's mentioned that he's only on 100 shot on stock cam, stock heads setup. So yeah, it's his car probably, you know, would on nitrate, him on NA sounds like would be a good run. He makes it sound like it would be a good run against my car NA, and which is just kind of hard to believe when, you know, this car has the heads and a cam setup. But I mean, I'm not sure. Tuning can do very, very good things. I don't know how it can overcome almost 100 horsepower difference if we do have 100 horsepower difference with the heads and the cam compared to him, because with the mods that he has, he's probably close to the 500 horsepower range, 480 to 500. But this thing, after what I saw it do to a stock ZL1, should be around the 560 to 580 range. So how his car can keep up with this that has almost 100 horsepower more, the only difference is the tuning. So that's the only thing I can explain in that. And I do plan on running him. I want to show that off, show that. But I have talked to Prey, and I do think that I'm going to be switching over to him just to test. I'm going to switch over to his stuff and see, okay, you know, is it really going to make that much of a difference on my car in terms of the time and the mile per hour compared to what I had before. We will see. And then also I will be discussing kind of some of the things of how that process goes for anybody that's looking to get tuned by Prey. So that should be coming up probably in the next month or so, and we will see how that goes. But yeah, again, I'm not saying that, you know, Eric in that red Camaro with Prey that's just bolt-ons and nitrous is maybe as fast as this. And if it is as fast and they show us as fast, I mean, I'm not gonna. He is a buddy of mine, and so I'm gonna go ahead and trust him with what he says. He has his mods, but we'll see. I mean, it's just hard to believe that something like that, a car like that, can kind of keep up with other cars the way that his does. You have a link to your front splitter and side skirts. Want to read about it? It says link later. Gumboli. So front splitter, just go to extremeonlinestore.com and search through there. The side skirts, unfortunately, these are from American Authority, and they no longer sell them. So I would your best bet is probably going to Extreme Online Store, and let me type that in the comments. Extreme Online Store, and they have a whole package of the front splitter and the side skirts that you can work on. Let's see. Living the tuner said he tuned it to run like it's at sea level. Okay. Yeah, so I know that makes a big difference. Running different like altitudes and all that does change things quite a bit. I don't know if it'd be advisable to be tuning a car to work at sea level when it's not, but I'm not too familiar with that, so it might be different. What you think about the high ram versus the MSD intake, minus the cutting of the hood? If we didn't have to cut the hood on the Camaros to fit a high ram, the high ram is the way to go, guys. It is going to give you the most power up top, and like I said, if you didn't have to cut the hood, the high ram is the way to go. The MSD is great, and it's a very good option if you're not wanting to cut the hood. It's also a good option to kind of keep a little bit of the mid, but I mean, it's been proven that the high ram can still keep up and the mid to low end and not lose too much and still make a lot of power up high. So if I didn't have to cut the hood, I probably would have gone with the high ram. Plus, the high ram is actually a lot cheaper. The high ram is about $800, where the MSD is $1,200. So, yeah, that's what I would do, is the high ram if I didn't have to cut the hood. Now, the fact that you have to cut the hood and even trim and cut some of the metal framing on the back end of your cowl cover, that is like the one thing that I do not like about the high ram. So I'm going to stick with the MSD. So that's it, guys. I think I'm gonna, like I said, car's going to go on the dyno here soon, so I'll be having that video. I know you guys are requesting that video a lot, and so we'll be putting it on dyno, getting you guys the numbers, and then hopefully we can go do some more of these Mexico runs. You guys really enjoyed those, and I had a great time out there. And actually, you guys see, just added a couple more things. If you guys saw my wrap video, you know that the car is finally wrapped on the side here, but I'm still missing a few things. I'm going to be doing kind of some lettering here, and then my Shield logo all over here. So it's going to look pretty cool, and I can't wait to have that all kind of stand out. No, it's not sea level tune, but the fuel to air ratio to get the optimum horse and torque, and then it's how it performs as it. Oh, okay, I get you. I didn't understand that quite correctly. Do you have 60 to 30 time on your draggy? I do not, but I think I can add it. I can just do custom times for it. I don't have that. I think I used to have a 40 to 120, and I removed that as well because I just wanted 40 to 100 when I was doing the testing for the Nitrous. Do you have any wheels company suggest for the track for road course? Not. I'm sorry on that, McDeberry. Not really familiar with wheels for the road course. Typically just know more about like the drag wheels that we see here, the lighter weight drag wheels, aluminum wheels. But for road course, I would imagine you would want something pretty light and more durable and harsh. I don't know about an aluminum wheel, but yeah, not too familiar with wheels. The only thing ones I can think of are like BBS or things like that that run wheels for like the Hondas and stuff, but not necessarily for road coursing. So, anyways, guys, I'd like to hear you. We got 16 people on here. I would love to hear back from you guys as far as what you guys thought about the video and the runs and where you guys think the car lines up, and is it performing the way it should with what it has, or is there something it can do better? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. You know, everyone, I feel like it's doing really good for what it has and where it's at. Just a matter of you know, getting everybody else's opinion. Also, guys, to have it on the full drag pack the whole time, because as much as it is fun, I still would rather have it on the street wheels. These wheels are nice and everything, but those wheels are better. Yep. Yeah. It's like I said, a stock ZL1. I mean, obviously on the track and everything like that, it's probably going to be different. You know, a bone stock car, and the way that it runs at a track is different from the way it runs on a roll. So the fact that it's able to do what it does on a roll against a stock ZL1 is very impressive. Yeah. Yeah, no, we were all good on that one. Kid Mike, I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to show everybody give everybody some help and insight on what you can do with these things and how to do it. $7.19, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Like I said, it's yes, sir, Mr. McDeberry. What would you like to know about the side skirt? And yeah, guys, like I said, I ran quite a bit of cars, and they were all nice, high horsepower cars. So this thing is definitely keeping up with some pretty good guys out there. Let's see. McAberry Winley says, carbon fiber or gloss black? What do you think? Depends on what you're trying to go for. So like in my case, I'm not a big fan of carbon fiber. I like it, but it's just very, very expensive compared to like the non-carbon fibers. At least the real carbon fiber stuff is very expensive. And so whenever I was building my car, I was trying to keep it more, not needing to push myself to buy the more expensive things. And so gloss black was the way that I went. Gloss black, obviously, as you guys can see it, it's great. You just got to get it painted, make sure it's painted well. And carbon fiber, you can do like hydro dipped carbon fiber, and that looks pretty good as well. I believe Fast Life Russ, if you guys aren't following his channel, he just got the front splitter in carbon fiber, and that's more of a hydro dip, not full carbon fiber, but it looks really well. It looks good on his car. So just depends. Carbon fiber can look really good, but if you do one piece in carbon fiber, then you pretty much got to continue to try and do everything in carbon fiber to really wrap and put the whole thing together and make it all look nice. Gumboli says, have you tried out R888s? I've watched YouTube vids and they're really good with 700. Yeah, I've looked at those. Unfortunately, they do not make the right size, the 305/30/20 that I'm currently using, and they're very expensive. I could go up to like a 315/30, but it's very expensive tire. You're looking at almost $900 for 2 tires, and that's more than my, Mickey Thompson drag pack. So it's very, very expensive to do that setup. Now, you can go with, there are others. One of them that I'm very interested in is the Nitto NT55R2. It just came out last month in April, literally brand new tire. And from what I've heard, it's basically almost very similar in performance to an R888R. It's got that drag radial compound with the same grooves and stuff for rain and all that. And it's supposed to be very, very good, as good as their NT05Rs or their most extreme track tire, and also as good as their G2s for daily driving. So those tires are not as expensive, and those cost about $600, which is the same as these. And so that's what I'm going to be going. They are brand new to the market, so not many companies even have them in stock. So hopefully in the next month also I can go ahead and order those and put those on, and then I can give you guys a good review on those tires, because if those work well, then you might not need to go with the very, very expensive R888s, and you can save yourself some money using those. So I'll be the guinea pig on that and give you guys an idea of how well those work. 719 says, I'm going to be ordering the welds. What tires do you recommend? 305, 45, 17 Mickey Thompson ET Street Rs, just like the ones I have on that car. They're 17 by tire. You don't want anything too much bigger, and you can go smaller. I think you can do like a 275, 50, but then that's kind of narrower and a little bit taller. The 305, 45 works perfect. What's going on, Marquez? Nittos, right on. Yes, sir. Like I said, it's a brand new tire. It just was released last month. It's supposed to be a completely new redesign. If you guys look it up, the Nitto NT555R2, the NT555R2, so like their second generation, and it's supposed to be very, very much more improved. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that one works. If it works well, then I'm going to be a very happy man, because I'll be able to finally drive around on my street wheels and not be spinning my butt off. Now, obviously, when we go to Mexico, having the street wheels is a lot heavier, but it's okay. I don't really care much about it. If it was really serious, and I just drive around with this all the time. But I'm not that serious about racing, guys. I just do it for fun, and I don't mind losing. Actually, when I went out to Mexico this last week, I mean, I was expecting to lose to a few cars. There were some very, very nice cars out there, and if I would have lost, it would have been just fine. I don't really care one way or the other. I just like to have some fun. So hope everyone's doing great and everything's going on well with you guys. Let's see. Mactoberry's asking, do you have the rock guard on your car? Is it useful? Yes, I do actually. I have the ZL1 add-ons, I believe, rock guards on the back and on the front. And I definitely think, especially the ones on the back, guys, I've been out to the track a lot, and when I do the burnouts, when I do any of that, I rarely see any type of buildup along the side of the car. I think it's just usually at the very bottom of the diffuser, so it makes it very easy to clean. So definitely recommend those rock guards. Nitto's NT555R2. Yep, the 3571719. It's NT555R2. And you guys have a good one. We need to swap cars. Marcus, what do you drive? What car do you drive? Well, anybody got any other topics or things that they want to discuss, questions? Give about 5 minutes, and then I think we can go ahead and end this live here. Just a small little recap, since we do have 16 people here, 17 now. what did we just talk about? Basically, we're going to be getting this car on the dyno here pretty soon. We're going to be running the NA and 100 shot. And then we are going to be also trying to see if maybe changing up things in the tune will allow us to run a little bit better time at the track. The car doesn't do as well on the track time-wise, typically because of the size of the cam and losing power down low. But maybe some changes can adjust that. We can hope get that 60 foot down. As you guys saw, if you haven't, the videos in Mexico, the car ran amazing and definitely shows the kind of power that it's making compared with the cars that it was running up against and what it was doing to these cars. So overall, the car is really strong, doing really well, and I can't wait to just kind of keep tweaking it here and there and just getting things better and better. So do you gain anything running leaner or richer? So Marcus, if you run richer, you're actually going to lose power. There's a thing called a pig. They call it pig rich. And if you run too rich, then you can tend to lose power. And if you run leaner, you're going to make more power, but you are going to be running very, very close to like having issues with, you know, pre-detonation, with heat in the cylinders and causing issues that way. So what the lean is mean saying is definitely not, you do not, yes, it's too lean and you can heat up the internal temperatures and just butt up, basically expand your piston rings and boom, there goes a piston. Too fat and too rich, and then you're just, you know, it's kind of like the carburetors in the cars. You throw too much fuel in there and it's going to like bog down. You probably saw that a little bit when I was doing the nitrous. When I did the 150 shot, I actually used a much bigger fuel jet because I was testing and wanted to make sure that everything was properly kind of working, and I didn't want to put the size that it was showing and then be too lean. So I figured I'll start off a little bit richer so that I can just move the fuel jets back down to where I need to be. And the car was running about 10-to-1 AFR, and it didn't gain or pick up as much as it should have because it was very, very rich. So you can lose power that way as well. Let's see. Adrenaline-driven media. Yeah, man, you have a good one. It's not fun at all. Do you think a draggy is worth it? It's been worth it for me. I loved it. It's basically really, really good. I am able to do tests like quarter-mile tests. And if you guys even notice the quarter-mile test, although not exactly at the drag strip with good prep, as long as you don't spin the tires, I mean, the draggy is very close to what the time slip gives you at the track. So on the street, if you're able to have something that can hook, you can do some good drag passes on the street of Mexico, of course, and get some accurate numbers of mile per hour and all that. As you guys saw, the mile per hour is actually pretty accurate from when I did it on the street, 128, 129, and then 132 or so with the 100 shots. So draggy's very, very awesome, very, very good. When it comes to for me to testing and seeing if things are making more power, less power, or how things are working, definitely recommend it. And at $150, it's very, very nice. Do you have an oil catch can on your car? And so which one? Eric, yes, I do. I actually have the Mighty Mouse catch can. It is their mild series catch can, I believe. And it is really good. I haven't drained it, and I am going to be making a video just kind of updating. I get the question a lot from people, you know, how much oil do you get in these engines after, let's say, 3,000 miles or so? And we're coming up to the 5,000 mile mark, which will mark 2,500 miles on the oil, because I changed the oil at about 2,500 miles. So when we get to the 5,000 mile mark, I'll do another round of oil change, and I'll drain the catch can, which I haven't drained at all, and we'll see how that works. I'm running around 11.4 on pump. What should I expect on the 85? I use the Aero Force gauge. I may go ahead and get the draggy. Marquez, you're saying 11.4 quarter mile on pump gas? That's really good. That is insanely good. That is really good. Any seat / mount camera recommend? About to have a track day next month at Button Willow. Nice. Honestly, I think if you can find just one of those like headrest, like wraparound clamp mounts from Amazon, I think that's your best bet. Those don't need to be very expensive or anything like that. Just get one that maybe you can wrap around to your headrest, and that would be my best bet. I've been going with the Amazon little reciprocating phone holder for mine, and then of course I just got the normal Amazon Basics clamps for my GoPro. They all work really great, so there's no need to really spend that much money on a mount or anything like that. I would just go with the Amazon version. Hey, Flying Tarpoon, appreciate it, man. Thanks. And for now, that 60-foot, I need to go back. I've been scared to try to launch this car at a very high stall. I've always felt like the car has done worse at doing it that way. But with the cam, it's changed a lot of the dynamics of the way the car needs to roll out. So I'm going to try, we'll be back at the track maybe this Friday, and we're going to try really stalling this thing up to the max that I can get it, and then taking off from there. I believe it's 2,300 or 2,000, 2,400 is what the launch control feature lets you do it on this car. So we'll see what the launch control feature will let us do on the just foot braking. And if not, I do have the two-step wired up, so I can always set that up to 2,500 and just have it on the button and just have the brake going, hit the gas, and then just or have that set up, hit the gas, and then flip the button off, turn the thing off, and see how that goes, and use that as a launch control. We'll see. What oil do you use? AMS oil, and I mean 11.4 AFR. Wish it was 11.4. Come on, I'm 11.9 right now. 11.4, yeah, it's actually kind of, for being, do you have a wideband on it, or is it just reading what the target AFR is? Are you looking at because the Aeroforce gauge, I believe, can show you like the target AFR of where the car is commanding the AFR to, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the AFR the car is running. When you're wide open throttle, you need the wideband to see exactly what your AFR is. I think for NA, the idea is you want to be as close to 13.0 AFR at wide open throttle. Of course, you have your wideband to make sure that you can see that. But 11.4, I would say if that is at wide open throttle, okay, yeah, then at wide open throttle, you should be seeing closer to about a 12.9 to 13.0 NA. That's how you're gonna make a lot of power. 11.4 is a little rich. Even on Nitrous, the Nitrous we target for 11.8 to 12.0, almost 1 point down from the NA wide open throttle pool. So yeah, I would say 11.4 is a little rich. You could definitely turn that up a little bit more, closer to 13 and you'll feel a little bit more power even without changing anything else. And a Flying Tarpoon, so I've tried leaving off vital. I've tried leaving about 1,800 RPM, and I've tried like 1,500 RPM. But for some reason, I need to try to get it past that 2,500 RPM range. I need to get it into I need to leave off at 2,500 so that it can really jump out onto the converter and start rolling out. I'm going to be doing some more testing in the streets of Mexico before I go, and trying to get that dialed in on the street, and hopefully it'll kind of get dialed in better. What's up, Agustin? So definitely got some more testing to do, guys, and who knows, maybe we won't need a stall, or maybe we will. And if we do, you decide to go with a stall, I'm probably going to try to maybe just go with like a 3,000 stall. I want to go with something small. I don't want anything too crazy. I just need the car to kind of be able to get past that 2,500 RPM range. But yes, marquees, definitely. If you got your car tuned and that's where you're at, then I definitely would recommend getting back with your tuner and seeing where that's going to go. Because I think a 12.8 to 3.0 to 1 is probably a good wide open throttle AFR that you want to be looking at. 11.4, that's boosted levels AFR. Like, so that's for cars that are got superchargers and things like that. I appreciate it, Flying Tarpon. When you got the speed engineering header, did you get the O2 sensors as well? Yes. MacDoberry, I actually went with the O2 extensions from Speed Engineering. They come with 2, and I think you only really need 1 on the driver's side. The passenger side, you can kind of unclip and extend the wire a little bit longer, but so you don't have to mess with anything. I just used the 2 extensions on each side and kind of zip things out of the way, and it definitely worked out. Without those O2 extensions, you're not going to be able to get the driver's side connection of the O2 done properly. All right, guys. Well, that is going to be it for me today. I'm going on almost an hour here. I appreciate everyone coming by and joining me. I hope you guys are staying safe and having everything well. Cam without heads any good? Marcus, yeah, a cam is definitely going to do well. Now, if you're getting like intake manifolds or ported stuff, then they're not going to be as well unless you get your ported heads. So if you plan on doing like a MSD high ram, then definitely want to try to go get your heads ported, because that's really what's going to help out. I appreciate everybody, and I hope you guys have a good one. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys. I'm going to try to kind of back these down to at least once a week, guys. So every Monday at 9 is when I'm going to try to get these lives going. And then maybe if I'm able to get some time during the week, I'll try to do some more. Always at 9 p.m. But in the meantime, let's stick for probably every Monday at 9. We'll keep this going. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.